What is happening, Magnus? Just getting ready to go downstairs and relax for the night when I got a notification. The notification was from the critical drinker. He's got something to say about this whole Robert Downey Jr. thing. And I'm very interested to see what he thinks. So, whether you like it or not, whether you're for it or not, we're going to find out what the drinker thinks. Let's get it!
Ladies and gentlemen, as proof of the unimaginable possibilities in the Marvel multi-universe, we give you the one person who could play Victor Von Doom.
That was the funniest laugh I've ever done. I've never heard myself sound like that before. A lot of people are talking about Cillian. Was it Cillian Murphy? I think everybody that I ever saw doing fan, drawings, the fan imaginings, they always wanted, was it Murphy Cillian? It was a Cillian Murphy. It's Cillian Murphy, right? Cillian Murphy. Yeah, it's Cillian Murphy. Yeah. I think he would make a good one. He actually has a more... I would expect Dr. Doom to have a harder face. When I think of him, it's more like... and now I'm starting to draw blanks again. Here we go. But the guy that plays the young Magneto... I think that he has a better look for that. As a matter of fact, you know who else I think has a great look? Who could probably play Dr. Doom really well? The last James Bond we had. I'm forgetting his name too. Him. Blonde hair, blue eyes. He's got a good look that I think would be great for Dr. Doom. But anyway, a lot of fans wanted Cillian Murphy. They wanted someone different. And we didn't get someone different.
Don't ask questions. Just consume the product and then get excited for next products.
Oh, come on. You all knew this was going to happen sooner or later. When your
Well, I didn't know they was going to bring him in for this.
franchise is on the ropes, all your new characters, movies, and TV shows have failed, and you're all out of ideas on how to fix it, there's really only one thing left. The nuclear option. Bring back the most popular actors, writers, and directors of yesteryear with the promise of massive paychecks in the hopes that it'll turn back time and revive the glory days.
Could you imagine, like, Zack Snyder, Superman dies fighting Doomsday, and then, like 2 movies later or whatever, they bring him back as Brainiac. That would be so weird. What? It's just, or say they just have a bunch more movies and just the DC is just going and going and going, and then they bring him back as Brainiac. It doesn't make sense to do that. I understand the comics and everything, and yeah. Listen, just because it was in the comics doesn't make it a great idea. There are probably millions of books written in this world. Millions of books and comic books and manga, and just so many different forms of media that are written down. It doesn't mean that they are all a good idea just because it happened in the comics.
And so it was at San Diego Comic-Con this weekend, the annual nerd event where Marvel are given the increasingly daunting task of drumming up some kind of enthusiasm from their wavering fan base by announcing another slew of boring, derivative, cash grab spin-offs of stuff that's already been done far better. Tell me, are you excited for discount Iron Man or discount Captain America that's had the GDP of a small South African country spent on it? Or a Blade movie that's been in development longer than most of us have been alive?
Kind of looks like me right there to the right. You know what? I really don't think that Falcon is discount Captain America. But what I think is that they made Falcon Captain America in a time that's pissing people the hell off. And they don't want it. I think he's caught in a storm of stuff. And like I said, when people are pissed off, they're in relationships with you, or they're your friend or your family. If you're just constantly messing up and you're getting arrested and you're bringing shame on the family name that rhymes on to play the game, bars, every little stupid thing you do is going to piss them off. And that's what Disney is in the middle of. They are the black sheep of the family, pissing people the hell off.
Or Agatha Harkness, we can't stick with a title for more than 2 weeks. Anyway, I digress. The point here is that Marvel finally achieved their attention-grabbing objective when Robert Downey Jr. was paraded out on stage in full Doctor Doom outfit to make the announcement that he'd be returning to
full cosplay Doctor Doom outfit.
The MCU.
No, full Halloween spirit. The spirit of Halloween. Doctor Doom outfit.
To play one of Marvel's most iconic villains in the next 2 Avengers movies. Because let's be honest, I don't think we're going to be seeing much of Kang from now on.
No.
You know, it's funny because we joked many times on Open Bar that we'd know for sure when Marvel had reached creative bedrock if they brought Robert Downey Jr. back as Tony Stark. And well, here we are, halfway there already. I say halfway because there's actually a storyline from the comics called Infamous Iron Man, where Doctor Doom took up the suit after Tony Stark fell into a coma. I wonder if they might be building up to something like that here. I wonder if this whole thing was just a roundabout way of getting RDJ back into that good old Iron Man suit without...
Yeah, people are saying it's like they're going to switch spirits somehow or something like that. Or there's another one where he's like, it's like a what if or something where he's like adopted by a different family or whatever.
Admitting that they straight up retconned him back to life. And I can pretty much see how it's all going to play out. It's probably going to be a variation of that storyline. It's probably going to involve multiverses because after 5 years of failure, Marvel are still clinging to the idea that they can make that concept work.
Well, here's the thing too. You know, I don't think we would have a problem. Well, I don't have a problem with multiverse and I never have. But I think the fans, everything that has been told and revolved around the woke dark times, everything that has been destroyed has had to do with multiverses, and all these different franchises are starting to do multiverse. At the same time, they are injecting woke into everything. So it's tainting it and making multiverse stuff look bad because they're also writing bad stories that are only revolving around the woke garbage. So it's making multiverse stuff look bad. I've read comic books growing up. Haven't read them much since past my, mid to late 20s. And fans never had problems with multiverse stuff. Different variations, what if stories. But it's what they've been tainting these stories with, which is the main problem. And what did I just say earlier? When you're effing up, everything is going to be scrutinized and under a microscope. Unfortunately, also multiverse stories are now being scrutinized. And it's nobody but Disney's fault.
And for all I know, it's probably going to involve an alternate Tony Stark facing off against Doctor Doom so that we can get twice the Robert Downey Jr. action. And we might as well throw in an alternate Thanos too, because why the hell not, right? He was popular as well.
Yeah, and Josh Brolin playing Cable and playing Thanos is not the same thing because it was 2 different studios doing their own 2 different franchises. Same thing with Chris Evans and Captain America. 2 different studios doing 2 different franchises. It's not the same thing.
The thing is, you're probably watching this video right now and thinking, Drinker, you wisecracking genius billionaire playboy philanthropist, how can you be so cynical about something so cool and unexpected? Easily, because I know exactly why this is happening. There's a reason Marvel parted company with most of the original Avengers after Endgame, and it had nothing to do with creativity and artistic integrity. Instead, it had absolutely everything to do with money. Marvel parted company with most of the original Avengers after Endgame, and it had nothing to do with creativity and artistic integrity. Instead, it had absolutely everything to do with money. The more you bring back actors to play the same role, the more expensive they become over the years. They're getting older and less interested in doing effects-heavy action scenes. They're worried about typecasting and wasting their prime years by spinning their wheels. They start getting bored and they want to take on new roles, and their agents start demanding more and more money for doing less work. All of this leads to a pretty dangerous combination. I don't know what it costs to have RDJ, Scarlett Johansson, Chris Hemsworth and the rest of the gang together one last time for Endgame, but I'm willing to bet that it was a very significant chunk of the budget. Cutting out these aging and expensive actors and bringing together a newer and cheaper cast for the next big event movie made perfect sense from a business point of view. The only problem is that nobody liked what they tried to replace them with, which is why so many post-Endgame projects absolutely flopped, and why there was very little interest in the next Avengers movie.
We've had so many big old pieces of trash that I'm choking on it.
Failed to set up any compelling characters or storylines to feed into it. The thing is, the whole point of Avengers films is that they act like a giant sandbox where all your favourite toys from different places can come crashing together in wild and wacky ways. It's fun because you get to watch characters that have never interacted with each other before trading quips and matching their skills and wits against each other. You get to see the culmination of big storylines and character arcs that you've been following for years. But like I say, it all hinges on the build-up, and if there's one thing that phases 4 and 5 of the MCU have failed spectacularly at, it's creating any kind of build-up for the next Avengers movie. Fuck me, the narrative is so fragmented and littered with the corpses of aborted ideas at this point that I'd struggle to even tell you what the main storyline is. Now don't get me wrong, it's not been all bad news for Marvel lately. No. Deadpool and Wolverine is shaping up to be the kind of big, crowd-pleasing summer movie that they desperately need at this point. But just like Guardians 3, they can't really exploit it because it was more of a swan song to a different era than the dawn of a new one. Something tells me you won't be seeing Deadpool as the centerpiece of a new Avengers team anytime soon. Captain America 4 has been blighted by a nightmarish production, endless reshoots, and a budget so ridiculously huge that the film has got almost no chance of breaking even, never mind making a profit. Meanwhile, everyone's geared up to roundly ignore Agatha Harkness in droves. All of this is to say that bringing Robert Downey Jr. back into the MCU feels like...
I gotta say, its trailer, though, had some nice punch to it. Similar to the Russo brothers' Civil War trailer or their Winter Soldier trailer. It's got some punch to it. So whoever did this may be emulating them, and it might end up being good. Kind of like those two directors that did the last Bad Boys, or the last two Bad Boys. You know, because they emulated Michael Bay's style, and with having their own though. You know what I mean? So it could end up being good, and I hope it is. I'm so sick and tired of not liking what I'm seeing.
Like a move born out of necessity rather than desire, a desperate decision by a company that knows its franchise is in trouble, and the only way forward now is to look backwards to more successful times. I mean, maybe the simple fact that they're actually aware of the problem now and doing something to address it is some kind of progress. It's a public admission that what they've been doing recently isn't working, and a change of course is desperately needed. Up until the Marvels landed on us, it was still possible for them to stick their fingers in their ears, ignore the growing fan criticisms, and blame their declining box office returns on other factors. But after that calamity, there was just no hiding it anymore. Something had to give. And you know what? I hope it works out for them. I really do. Because any studio that recognises their mistakes and makes a genuine effort to fix them deserves some kind of recognition for it. But let's be real here, there's a big difference between bringing back one popular actor for some quick and easy fan service and making a sincere attempt to put right the many problems they've created for themselves. Only time will tell if this is the former or the latter. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Good job, Drinker. I think both me and you think very similarly on this. For me, I just don't know. For you, you think it's a real bad idea. I already thought it was a bad idea. And then as time moved on, I just fell into that. I just don't know. I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know what to do. So I'm just like, whatever. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I guess you bring him in, somehow he gets switched bodies with the real Doom, and then he's the bad guy, and then they bring in Tom Cruise to be Iron Man and take him down. That I could see that being fun. That might really work really well, but I wanted to see someone else being Doom. Someone else will play him. Maybe someone else will play Doctor Doom. He'll switch bodies with him, so maybe they'll get Cillian Murphy to play the real Doctor Doom. They'll switch bodies. He'll be bad Tony Stark for a while or whatever, and then Tom Cruise will come in and somehow save him, and we'll get the real Tony back. I don't know. Whatever. 10 million subscribers. Woo!